All right, let's dive into what is, without a doubt, one of the most pivotal documents in investment history, Warren Buffett's 1971 letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders. It's so much more than just a letter. It's a timeless playbook on how to create incredible long-term value.
And it all really starts with this one number, 14%. In 1971, Berkshire Hathaway reported an operating return of over 14% on its shareholders' equity. Now, for any serious investor, that's a number that, well, it immediately gets your attention. But you have to ask, why was it so remarkable back then?
Because, as Buffett himself pointed out, a 14% ROE was considerably above the average for American industry at the time. This wasn't just good, it was elite. It was a massive signal that management was doing something very, very right with its shareholders' capital.
And that is the central puzzle we're going to solve. The answer reveals Buffett's true genius, not just in picking stocks, but in allocating capital between different businesses. It's a masterclass that's just as relevant today as it was half a century ago.
So the first lesson here comes from a place of just brutal honesty. It's about confronting the hard truth about Berkshire's original business, the textile operations. This is really where the story of smart capital allocation begins.
And here it is, one of the most famous metaphors in all of Buffett's letters. It just perfectly captures the fundamental problem. See, the issue wasn't the managers. In fact, he praised their incredible efforts. The issue was the business itself. The economics of the American textile industry were just plain awful.
And here's the bottom line. Even with fantastic managers trying everything they could, hammering down costs, the business could only squeeze out tiny, marginal profits. Buffett makes it crystal clear that without their heroic work, the textile division would have lost a ton of money. It's the classic case of a great jockey on a terrible horse.
Okay, so if the textiles were the problem, where did the capital go? Well, the powerful solution and the real engine behind that 14% ROE was the insurance operations. And they were run with a philosophy that was completely different from the rest of the industry.
And this comparison just illustrates that second key principle brilliantly. On one side, you have Berkshire's primary goal, underwriting profitability, period. On the other side, you had the industry norm, which was all about chasing volume, getting bigger at any cost. Buffett basically said, look, anyone can grow if you're willing to lose money on every policy you write. He just refused to play that game.
This simple, disciplined approach, this is the playbook in action. When competitors got greedy and started cutting rates to foolish levels, Berkshire just pulled back. They were totally fine with letting their business shrink. But then, when the market got ugly and everybody else was running for cover, Berkshire, with its fortress balance sheet, was ready to step in and write tons of business at what they called proper prices. It's literally be greedy when others are fearful, turned into an operating manual.
So you've got this intelligently deployed capital, the cash, or float, that the insurance business generates. Where does it find a permanent home? Not just in any old business. No, you buy what you can only describe as a fortress.
I mean, just look at these numbers for the Illinois National Bank. Earning over 2% on deposits back then was basically unheard of. And get this, they did it while being far safer than their competitors. They had way more liquidity, way fewer bad loans, and they used almost no borrowed money. This wasn't just a good bank, it was an absolute fortress that dominated its peers on every single metric of safety and profitability that mattered.
Now, this right here, this might be the most important principle of all, investing in people. Buffett wasn't just buying assets. He was partnering with these phenomenal owner-managers. Guys like Gene Abegog, Jack Ringwalt, and Vic Rabb. These were founders who, even after Berkshire bought them out for cash, continued to run their businesses with the exact same obsessive pride as if they still owned 100% of it.
So when you put it all together, this 1971 letter gives us a clear, actionable playbook that any investor can learn from today. So let's just distill it down to its core lessons.
First, and this is maybe the toughest one, you have to have the courage to confront the brutal facts. No amount of managerial talent can save a business that's in a fundamentally flawed industry. Recognizing you're swimming against a tide you can't beat is the absolute first step to getting out of the water.
Second, discipline is everything. Chasing growth just for the sake of getting bigger is a trap. The real measure of success is underwriting profit and having durable pricing power, not just grabbing market share. Buffett's rule was simple. We never set volume goals if it means sacrificing profitability to get there.
And this is the masterstroke, where it all comes together. You take the capital from that bad business that's fighting an impossible fight, and you redeploy it into a superior business,
A fortress, run by a manager who thinks and acts like an owner. That is the engine of long-term compounding.
Because this letter, it really isn't just a history lesson. It's a diagnostic tool. It forces us to look at our own portfolios and ask those tough questions. Which of our companies are stuck in a brutal industry? And do we have the discipline to move that capital to a much, much better home? That's the enduring lesson from 1971.